I'm a huge fan of Motley Crue, but I'll be honest, and you probably know, I haven't always been very kind to the band on this channel. However, 2 days ago, July 2nd of 2025, Nikki Sixx celebrated 24 years of sobriety. And today, July 4th, I am celebrating 21 years of being sober. So I thought today was a good time to say this. Congratulations, Nikki Sixx. You are an inspiration to us all.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru, and I've always been a Motley Crue fan. I really have. I love, from Too Fast for Love and basically through the 1994 album, they created this scene that I talk about so much on the channel. Have I ripped on them a little bit for some things? Yes. I'm not going to go into that, but it is amazing to me that Nikki Sixx, how do you stay sober as a rock star? I really don't know. Everywhere you go, that's the place where people want to party. Okay, anytime there's a Motley Crue show in that city, everybody that's going, that is their night to get wild. How do you stay sober going through that and watching everybody just get tore up and getting wild and having fun like you used to be able to do and stay sober? I don't know. So the fact that he has been able to do that and has been so open about his sobriety and so encouraging to other people is just amazing. And he should be commended for that. I know he's not the first rock star to get sober. There's guys like Alice Cooper, Gene Simmons has always been sober, but he has been one of the people that has most openly struggled, with not just alcohol. I don't know but we know he was a heroin addict and died in 1987. So his struggles have always been front and center, but he's also been so front and center about his sobriety and not hiding it, but encouraging it. So I just think that's amazing. So he shared this, and I'm going to pull my computer closer to me. Shared this post on, I don't know if he shared it on Instagram. Maybe he probably shared it everywhere. But here's his post. Today I take a moment to reflect on how sobriety and the willingness to confront my past has completely transformed my life. Sobriety isn't just about eliminating substances. It's the ability to be honest with yourself and those around you. I struggled with my sobriety. I was a major alcoholic. I dropped out of college. My life went to shit. And still I could not stop drinking, even though I knew drinking was my problem, but I didn't confront it for many, many years. And I kind of got lucky, and I've talked about this a little bit on the channel. I went to Iraq in 2003 with the Army, and I was forced to be sober, and that was the first time I was like, oh shit. Okay, there's something about this. So I was able to confront myself and finally be honest with myself. And after I fucked up for a big month or two when I got home from Iraq in 2004, I went to treatment. But he's right. If you're willing to lie to yourself, and people who do lie to themselves never get sober. because they keep convincing themselves that, oh, it's this or it's that or it's something else that's fucking up my life. And while the answer is always right in front of you, usually sitting, on a bar table. So he goes on to say this. Over the past 24 years of sobriety, I've experienced profound joy, but not without significant challenges. Through this journey, I've learned how to navigate adversity with grace and how to be truly selfless. We're not here solely for ourselves. We're here to serve those who are still struggling. So when he says it's not without great challenges, okay, I've been sober from alcohol for 21 years. July 4th, 2004 is my sobriety date. But I got fucked up with Adderall, and I kind of talked about this a month or two ago after Tammy Down's fiance committed suicide. And I started taking a prescription drug, and it worked for me for a couple years, and then it didn't work for me, and it got out of control. And I was about this close to where I thought, you know what, fuck it. And I think my getting sober from alcohol was the thing that allowed me to go, you know what, this Adderall is going to be the thing to take you down. So I quit that in 2021 and have been, life can still be a struggle, but I haven't been on anything stronger than caffeine since I put down the Adderall. So I guess, I'm sober from alcohol, but am I completely sober? Well, I've been sober off of drugs or whatever you want it, prescription meds for 4 years. But, that was a bump in the road for me. And it fucked me up for a few years, but I found a way to get past that. So, goes on to say this. Some people, sadly, can't be honest with themselves, and more often than not, they fail and end up hurting those around them. Honesty can be frightening, but it's also liberating. The smartest thing I ever did when I knew that alcohol, it's about 2 months after I got home from Iraq. I'm fucking having a nervous breakdown. It's like 80 degrees out, and I'm sitting in my apartment. I just woke up at 2 p.m. and I'm bawling, thinking my life is over. Like, if I can't get sober after Iraq, nothing will help me. And I finally, that afternoon, I called a treatment place. And maybe most importantly, I told my whole family. I called my brother. I was like, I have to go to treatment. I'm an alcoholic. I can't do this anymore. When I started going to treatment, I went to the VA, the Veterans Hospital. My mom was a nurse there. Every lunch period, I met her for lunch and I told her everything. All the secrets and all the hiding and the lying and all the, everything's fine. I still like to party with my buddies a little bit, but it was all bullshit. And when I finally told everybody, it was like I could finally sigh, a big sigh of relief and say, finally, no need to hide anymore. I'm not constantly covering up lies about this thing I did and that thing I did. Oh shit, I got a DUI and fuck, it's in the newspaper. And they're going to find out. Well, I'll lie about that too. So telling everybody, for me, I think was even more important than treatment. Treatment was good, but that being finally honest, and not only honest with other people, that was huge, but being honest with myself was. So Nikki is right on, and he's saying it better than I am, but I'm just kind of telling you my perspective of it. So now he goes on to say this. I'll never forget something a sponsor told me after a fellow addict passed away. He said, some people have to die to teach the rest of us how to live. And then Nikki says, that broke my heart and reminded me just how important this journey really is. Well, that's fucking A. Some people have to die to show us how to live. And I've had family members who have died early, and addiction being, one of the things that really took them down. But I'm going to add this. A lot of people say you have to reach bottom before you can be honest and confront this thing that is killing you. But you don't have to go all the way to the bottom. You don't have to get off on the bottom floor. You can get off here. Like I used to say, well, I have a job. I have a place to live. I'm not that bad. But I was on my way, luckily, I didn't have to end up homeless. But you can have a home and a career and a family and still be damn near at your bottom. Or, you can decide to stop there. You don't have to let it get to being homeless and living on the street. You can decide what your bottom is. And luckily, I was still able, I still had a lot of things going for me when I reached my bottom. Decide that you don't have to go any lower before you decided that you have hit your bottom. Okay. And I think somebody told me that when I was in treatment. I was in treatment with there was 8 of us at the VA. 6 Vietnam vets, 1 World War II vet, and then I was the young guy, the Iraq vet. And if I learned anything at treatment, it was listening to those older guys tell me that I didn't have to fuck up like they did. And then Nikki says this. A friend recently gave me a copy of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. One quote that struck me deeply was, practice what seems impossible. And Nikki finishes by saying this, I like that. I accept that challenge. So I just think it's so awesome that Nikki is so upfront about his sobriety in a world that, I used to glorify. I was probably that guy who was telling my friends, come on, fuck, it's not that bad. Let's drink, let's party. That's how rock and rollers were. And even though I was never in a band, I considered myself a rock and roller. And to be a rock and roller meant you get fucked up. You fucking get wasted until you're blackout and you're falling down, and then you do it again the next night. But, it's also pretty awesome to realize, I don't like that way of living. I don't like that when I'm fucked up, I lie and cheat and do everything wrong. I don't like that when I'm drinking, I drop out of college and I can't hold a good job. I don't like when I'm drinking, I'm a horrible father and a shitty boyfriend. And I barely take care of my kid, and I wake up and I make my kid a bowl of cereal and turn on the cartoons, and I go back to bed till 1 p.m. I don't like that shit. In fact, that shit makes me miserable and makes me wonder how much longer I want to go on. That's how drinking made me feel at the end. And it worked for a while. I was a great partier for a few years. But then I was miserable for a ton of years. And I'll look how good Nikki looks. Look at guys who are sober. Look at Steve Brown. What is he fucking shit, he's got to be 56. He looks like he's 35. And I'm not saying that but I'll put the picture of me in 2002 on Christmas Day when I'm 260 pounds and I'm drinking every night and smoking a pack a day, and tell me I know I'm not that good looking, but at least I know I look better now than I looked back then. Look at Alice Cooper playing shows. He's got to be 75, 76 years old. He fucking looks amazing. Are there exceptions? Yeah, there are some people who party, but generally the drinkers and the druggers either look like shit or they're dead. And I remember Alice Cooper talking about some of the guys that were in the original Alice Cooper band. And this is a while back. And he's like, look how old they look. And I remember this quote. He said, they drank and they smoked themselves into being old men. And so I salute these guys that have been an inspiration to me. I salute my dad, who quit drinking in 1987, May 27th of 1987. And he was this huge asshole when he was a drinker, and he became this great dad when he quit drinking. And that's probably my first inspiration, the first clue that, holy shit, there is something to this sobriety thing. So I salute my dad. I salute Nikki Sixx, and I salute, anybody who has attempted or knows they want to change. I salute you. You can change. If you would have known me in the late 90s, early 2000s, you would have said that guy is never going to get his shit straight. Because I just wasn't. But somehow I did. Somehow Nikki Sixx did. Somehow Alice Cooper did. Somehow Steve Brown from Trickster did. And so many others. And if we did, you can too. And so I'll just talk to somebody. That you will not confront it if you are just, I'm just going to white knuckle it and do it on my own. Because when you tell people that you're struggling, that means that you are now accountable. People are going to be watching you, And if you drink, they're going to say, fuck, what are you doing? And you need that. I needed that. You know how many times when I was drinking, I said to myself, oh, fuck, I'm going to quit. God, I got a DUI. I was a .27 in 1999. Okay, I got a DUI. And I was like, told myself I'm going to quit. But I didn't tell anybody else because I wanted to give myself, hey, if you fuck up and you drink, nobody's going to know. It wasn't until I told everybody and was honest with everybody else and honest with myself. And I apologize. I know I have talked about sobriety before, and it's tomorrow's because I'm recording this, it's July 3rd. So tomorrow, July 4th, is my 21st year, and I was just inspired by Nikki Sixx and his post, and I thought, fuck it, you know what? I want to do something. I want to shout him out, and I want to shout myself out. For 21 years, Nikki Sixx for 24 years, myself for 21 years. And I don't think you can ever, remind people enough that there is a better way to live. My worst day now is better than my best day when I was fucking drinking. Those days at the end were just fucking horrible. Okay? So, hey, if you are struggling, reach out and talk to somebody. You can message me. I'll do what I can. But I hope that you have a family member or a friend and somebody that you can say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay? Reach out and do that. You have years. I don't know how old you are, but there is a life in front of you that doesn't involve just dragging yourself through every day, just barely getting by and wondering how you're going to survive. There is a better way to live. And I am praying for you. If you are one of those who are struggling, I'm praying for you to get back on to find that way to reach out for help and start living your life instead of dying. Get busy living instead of getting busy dying. Thanks for listening, and bless you, and reach out for help if you need it. Okay? Take care of yourselves.